Hey guys, welcome to this session, the question and answer session with the Pattern Trader. My name is Mark Shawzin, the Pattern Trader. I'll be happy to take any questions you might have regarding any markets, Forex, gold, stocks. I'm trading them all. Just closed out all of my bear price positions. So I came in short Tesla, came in long the put options of QQQ. We're starting to turn things around, and yeah, I just bailed out of all of my bear positions here. We've had an incredible week in the meme stocks. AMC, which hit 75 this morning, is now trading at 46. So it looks like that mania is coming to an end. So if you have any questions, let me know. Call in. Let's have a chat. And Pound New Zealand, one of my favorite Forex trading pairs, also broke out today. I've been recommending you guys buy the British Pound versus Pound New Zealand from the 192s. We're hitting the 197 area now, and I think this is going to go a lot higher. So Dog says, I'm loving Pound New Zealand. Yeah, hopefully you took that trade. I think it's going a lot higher. I think it's going 1,000 pips higher than here. So, no time like the present to get in Pound New Zealand. I'm amazed how the stock indexes turned around. I was pretty bearish this morning, but by virtue of this turnaround, I'm pretty impressed. So I'm actually going to buy some call options here. So what else are you trading, Dog? Let me know what else you guys are doing. So we had GM, had announced much better than expected, earnings prospects. GM is exploding. GM is one of those things you just have to own. It's long term for GM. The American car companies are showing some spunk here. So GM is making an all time new high. I think that trend continues. What are the F options, Atel? You'll have to tell me a little bit more specific about what you mean there. Dog wants to know 10B. Is that a symbol? Yeah. Hard to tell what's going on here. Tell you the truth. 10B. I don't know what that is. Yeah, the stock looks like it's going lower. Ford options. I don't know if Ford's had a pretty good run. I don't know. Wow, it's breaking out again today. So this is clearly momentum. So a lot of the stuff in the market is just momentum now. AMC and a lot of stuff that doesn't even make sense now is, just it's momentum trade. So I don't know if you didn't buy it now. I hate chasing things. Mustafa, how are you? You made a good. Yeah, I was short. I was short at the yin yang with Nasdaq, and I thought I was going to just hit the payload today, and then I just started unwinding my positions. I made a ton today. I was short Tesla, but I didn't get out well. I mean, I shorted Tesla at 620. I got out at about 598. It went to about 592 this morning. I was long all of these puts today. I was long like 1,000 put options on the NASDAQ, and I thought I was just going to make a fortune today. And right now I'm just buying calls. The way this turned around, I just turned around. I got rid of all my puts, and now I just reactively I'm getting long. This market is just you can't short this thing. So Michael says, can you talk about getting out of your trades intraday, or are you only trading at the start? So yes, I mean, I kind of trade around the beginning of the day. So if I'm looking to buy something, what I love to see is a lower opening on the opening and buy against that previous day's low. And then today, I thought it was on. The market gapped lower. I had these put options on the QQQs. I was short Tesla. And then, you start, it's at some point, you have to respond. I don't like responding to the market action, but when you have a big gap, then you want to see if that gap's going to hold. And I make all of my decisions, Michael, based on the bigger picture. But then in terms of, just certain kind of days like today where you had a huge gap, in these indexes, Tesla was down 12 in the aftermarket. And I knew I should have taken that profit, because whenever you see like the days close at like 605, and then the intermarket, Tesla was trading at 592. And I didn't really see an area of a chart where that kind of gap was going to hold. And I'm really pissed I didn't get out earlier. I mean, I made some amazing profits on Tesla, $22 in really a day or two. I had 6,000 shares short, so I can't. But I don't know. I wanted to get out, and sometimes I don't want to mess with the aesthetic of it, and so I just this is a lot of there's so much churning in there. It's very actually hard to hold a position. I like to be in a position, feel like I can hold it for a week or two. Like, when I shorted QuantumScape at 37, I held it all the way down to 25. Now it's starting to show. I actually started buying some QuantumScape because I thought it would be like these meme stocks. All of the heavily shorted stocks now are just getting a run. So I actually bought some QuantumScape yesterday. I got out. I shouldn't have gotten out. It's up today. I think it could go to $35 now. It's just like, this is a momentum market. So very difficult market when you're getting, these kind of, intraday, the indexes have got to churn. The sectors have got to churn. It goes from growth to cyclical to momentum, all within the same day. And so you kind of got to be a little lighter on your feet than, I would like to be. So pound New Zealand today, I've been talking about this trade for 2 months now. I said the path of least resistance in this thing is higher, but you've been having these huge kind of 500 pip moves, but now the risk is getting more and more dialed down. I put in another buy order in last night for those on my elite program. I said, we already have 2 open positions. I would put another one in. I buy it at 196.11. Today it's trading about 196.80. I think we're going 1,000 pips higher from here. So certain things you kind of get to feel that you're getting in at a certain area where the risk is less and you're going to get a push. And so, some of these stock moves are incredible. And I've been just, swimming in and out of this thing like a remora fish. I've been just making some amazing moves. So today, intraday, AMC Theaters went to $75 and now it's trading at 45. So it was up about 100% yesterday, and it's down about 50% today. So Mustafa, QuantumScape went up because it's a short squeeze. It's like Beyond Meat. Why I bought Beyond Meat? It's like like last week, it tried to get to 25, 26, 24, try to push it down. It couldn't go any lower. It's like a beach ball. You push, and then you let your hand off. It just explodes. So Mustafa, that's just a lot of short interest that was building up, and now they punish the shorts. So you got to be very careful about being short a stock right now, because this is an environment like GameStop, AMC, Cost Theaters, Bed Bath & Beyond. These are dog stocks that have no fundamentals. but the crowd is able to just wrestle these things to the ground. That's right, Michael. It is a gamma squeeze. So it's just a concept. When you short a stock, you have to borrow it. Somebody lends it to you, and then you short it. And then in order to get out of your short, you have to buy. You have to buy. In order to cover your short, you have to buy in the market. You have to buy back your stock. So what's happening is people are buying the stock, and then all the shorts need to cover, and they need to buy their stock too. And it creates this barn burner. It's like pouring fuel on the fire. So yeah, just amazing what's going on today. Selling calls, maybe. I don't, maybe that's the thing to do in this environment, Michael. Valency, did I abandon Lyft? I think Lyft is still long term a good stock. It looks like it's turning here. I was looking at Uber yesterday. Uber looks like it's at a kind of a rounding top here. So the look of Uber and Lyft are starting to change, especially Uber. Uber is not looking very good here. Francis says, do you see there's a head and shoulders on New Zealand Canadian? Yeah, I do. I think that, there's a lot of support right here in this 86 area, but I don't think it'll hold. Today you got a bounce, but I think you can short into these bounces. So I do think there is a head and shoulders top, Francis, and I do think it will. But it's just in this area where you've got a lot of support, and it could go sideways for a while. Yeah, I don't know, Mustafa. I wouldn't. I don't know if I would stay short right now. This thing could run back to 35. These things are capable of doing anything. I mean, GameStop went from, or AMC went from $7 to $75. I don't know what that is, 10,000%. So, yeah, I would not be short here. I would not be short. This thing could go back to 40. CAD yen. I'm actually pissed. I was long yesterday and I jumped out, even though I just felt like now the energy's changed in QuantumScape. CAD yen, these yen pairs are just hovering at their all-time, weekly. So I think CAD yen looks like it's going to go, higher long term, but it's at this 91 area. That's where it was in 2018. So it could continue to hover here. But I think, these yen trades look like they're going to go a lot higher. You kind of have to use the pullbacks to, it doesn't look like you're going to get any pullbacks either. So we've got a little weekly, bar, in the euro yen. May turn back a little bit here, but I would not short these things. I think the yen trades look like they're going higher. Even the dollar yen looks like it's breaking out of its downtrend pattern. Yeah, I mean, dollar yen, if dollar yen gets back to 111, it looks like it's going to break out to the upside also. So I think these yen pairs look like a paradigm shift where they are starting to change. They've been in a 10-year, decade-long downtrend, and now they're all turning. And, you may get some volatility here. Sorry, I'm just going to get some water. And, yeah, so these yen trades you want to keep an eye on. I would buy any dips in these yen trades. You guys trade in the stock markets at all? I just want to check on. Yeah, I mean, like Dow Jones, is looking like a gap down today. Looked like it was topping. Now we've got this huge key reversal. But this is why I say you have to wait till the close. So when you see this intraday volatility, I mean, it could be up now and it could be down 400 pips, by closing. So you have to kind of wait to see how this thing closes now to get a feel, for what's going on here. But this is a very impressive turnaround in these indexes. I I had all kinds of expectations. I was just gonna. I mean, I was making an unbelievable fortune on the opening, and I thought if I get another push, and then tomorrow we've got non-farm payrolls, a big employment number that is usually a catalyst to send the market one way or another. So we're in this area that it's more than interesting. There's a lot of resistance, but this is still, it's kind of hard to see how this momentum continues here to the upside. So, for instance, what exactly was the entry trigger on the pound New Zealand? So, pound New Zealand for the last 3 days has been coiling. I call this an inside day bar coil. First off, I go back to the double bottom pattern, in early January, where you double bottomed at 185. And I've been telling you every single day, weeks, this thing's bottomed, even though it crashed from 196 to 198 to 192. I said I would buy that. I would buy every dip in this thing. And you got to trust the patterns. And that's why, it's so hard if you're trading intraday or what have you. You don't understand what you're trading, but by understanding what the driving pattern is, then you can. So for the last 3 days, you've had this coil where you've been going from 194 to 196, banging in this 200 pip range for 3 days. And so I said to our elite members last night, put a buy stop above yesterday's high, which was around, 196. I said, put your buy stop about 196.11 and let the market just trigger you into it. And right now we're trading about 196.60 or so. We broke back to 197, and now I think you're going to start stair-stepping higher. I think, those lows at 194 probably not going to be taken out. Karen says, hey, Karen, I see a reverse triangle, double bottom in the S&P whenever I see that. Yeah, so, the path of least resistance in these things, and I've saw the double bottom too. But sometimes, these bottoms, it's a double bottom, but it's also against a resistance high. So it's like you've got these two kind of forces fighting each other. And, you've kind of just got to concede to the path of least resistance, which is, higher. But let's see how we close today, Karen. The close is going to be very important. Yeah. So, we've just been kind of stair-stepping higher. And we have this resistance at 4250, but, the path of least resistance is higher. This was a very impressive rally today. So Wong says gold took a nosedive. I am not surprised. I advise our members to take their profits 2 weeks ago, even though it looked like there was more left. I said, I'm out. I've been saying, day after day, week. I just got a feeling that this was a turning point. Today we got whacked $30. And that's what I said yesterday. We were talking yesterday. I said, if I buy gold here, I don't know where my risk is. It could be, it could be $30 away. And here you go. So I try and find spaces on the charts where I can, dial down my risk. And gold just got to a resistance level. And I've been saying for weeks now, I didn't trust it. Even though, the short-term forces looked like they were going higher. I just had it was a feeling. Now you have a weekly reversal forming. We'll have to see how we close tomorrow. So, I think this could be the epitaph for gold. This could be it. Let me just see this monthly chart. Yeah, so it's like they had a huge resistance at 1950. So we got a hair above 1900. I thought maybe we could go another $30-40, but I wasn't willing to try and make another 30-40, to risk 30-40-50. So I try and, make my risk reward relationships 3-to-1. So if I'm going to risk $30 in gold, I want to see about a $90, return. I couldn't see that path. So Mustafa says, I only just saw gold now. I was out following your stay away call. Yeah, so I just had a queasy feeling that there was a lot of resistance up here, and I couldn't make the case. I couldn't see where my risk was. Even yesterday I was saying, okay, even if I enter here, we've got a little inside bar. I still feel like my exposure is $30 to $50. And if I'm going to take a $30, $50 risk, then I got to see, $150 on the upside. And I can't make that case right now. Bullshit aggressive. What's your opinion on the stock market? The stock market is, you can't really look at the stock market. To me, it's a market of stocks, right? So some are going down, some are going up. The markets themselves, the internals are grinding. There's a shift every day from cyclical to momentum to growth back again. There's all these countervailing, forces going on here. So, I haven't been trading the indexes for a while. I did get short based on the reversal a couple of days ago. I bought some puts and I was, making a ton this morning. I still made a ton, but I was making much more this morning. Michael says, so you're trading before earnings for a punch in the stocks. Do you ever trade the indexes before the Fed move? So I don't try and, I wouldn't trade based on a Fed meeting. I would, I bet on the setup. And to my mind, whatever the news comes, whether it be an earnings or a Fed or anything, that's just a catalyst to send something where it was already pointed. So I have to understand where something is pointed. And then, if there's something that's going to, some event or news or what have you, I may do that just because I feel so strongly, but I have to understand first what the risk reward is, where I'm getting in, what the trajectory is. And if I can see a pattern and a place to get in, and then, some news is going to come out, then, all the better. But, it first comes down to the integrity of the setup. You have to understand what the risk reward is. It's all about understanding your risk, right? So you don't just wade into something because something's going to happen. I have to see an area where I can dial in my risk. So you see these things are starting to drift down now, so you can't trade this intraday action. In fact, I can't see how this intraday action is going to sustain itself. So it makes a new high and it looks like it's, it's right on the high of the day now. But, now where's it going to go from here? It's just, there's nowhere for it to go. So that's why, trading this intraday stuff is, is very difficult. So the best thing right now is to, if you haven't been in a trade, wait for today to close because this thing could be all over the place. One of the stocks that I'm starting to like on the short side again is Zoom. I came in short here. I just covered with everything else. I just covered everything now reflexively, but Zoom looks like it hit that, that resistance, that long-term resistance area of 335. And, I'd be looking for Zoom to start, pulling back to these lows again. See what's going on with Peloton. Looks like it's curling back down. So, yeah, these stocks look pretty bad. So again, you might have just had a reflex rally here. I might just end up, shorting back into, this rally. Sally says, what about Doge? I would not trade that thing. Can't trade something that when you wake up one day and it's, it's 50%. So again, it's all about risk reward. And I could not make the case, when Bitcoin was trading at 65 grand, just to chase that. And that's the thing. If you get in at 65 grand, then you got to say to yourself, okay, where's my risk? I get in here, where's my risk? And if you can't answer that question, which, you couldn't with Bitcoin or, Ether, let me just see where these things are doing now. Yeah, so they are having a bounce right now. Ether's got a better looking chart than Bitcoin. It still has to go over 3,000. So if Ether can start getting above 3,000, we may have put in a nice little bottom here. But these things they're not real. It's like to have a chart, you need some history, and then you need the history to be something that you can see, in a cadence. With these things, the cryptos, it's a hockey stick up, a crash, another, parabolic move up, another crash. So how do you sort out your risk? It's arbitrary. So, if it gets lower, and you want to have a crack at it for a bounce, then, have at it. But Jazz says, what do you think of Neo? It looks like it's kind of staking out a bottom here. Again, some of these SPACs and these written off companies now are, getting another burst from the short squeeze kind of environment. Plug Power's got this like little, look that, looks like it's, steadying in here. So some of these written off dogs, are starting to look, pretty good. So Maud says, can I see your live account? So I can't show any abstracts or anything, charts or anything, on this platform. So I can't show you my live account. But I know there's a lot of BS on the internet. All you have to do is listen to what I'm saying and what I have been saying, and then see what happens in real time. I said short quantum state at 38. It went to 24. Mustafa is one of our members, so, everything I've been saying. I shorted Tesla at 620 2 days ago, got out of 598 today. So, I understand but to see my account's not going to really help you. Timo says, did I talk about dollar CAD? No, I've kind of haven't been looking at these dollar trades. I've kind of, snuck into a kind of a quiet phase here. So dollar Canadian, I was short, and I got out here because there's a long-term support. I think you could get some dollar support in here. So I think maybe through the summer, the dollar looks like it's, very quiet. So I look for markets that are bouncing from one level to the other. And when a market starts going to sleep, I just leave it alone. So I think the dollar trades are, for now, I don't even look at it. They're just very quiet. Francis says, yeah, I made a lot of money today on Apple. I was long the put options, the 124 put options, and I got out on that dip today. So I do think that Apple is sitting on this long-term trend line, and it's at a very, precarious place. So I got out of just everything today when the markets were down. I was making a ton of money, and sometimes, because the markets are so all over the place, when the market gives you a flush, you just got to take it. I was thinking about holding it. I was thinking about tomorrow with non-farm. But first off, all of my options expire tomorrow, so it's a really dangerous game. The more you play it out, because it goes one tick against you, now you're stuck, and your premium erodes so quickly. So you got to be very careful with that game of options. So I've been short. I bought the Apple puts when the stock went over 125 at the beginning of the week. I bought the 124 puts for about 30 cents, and I got out for about a little over $1 today. So I made 300% in a week on my Apple puts. And even though I think it's going to go lower, it's at this support area. So I didn't want to push my luck. I was actually lucky to actually have that move, because we're in some support. But Apple looks like it's, and Amazon, they all look like they're kind of curling over here. So going to be very interesting to see how we close today. Path of least resistance is still higher. So Mustafa says, amazing how markets, everything spot on. I became an elite member for the icing on the cake. I've made tons on QuantumScape, gold, and many others listening to Mark. So thanks for that, Mustafa. I've had an amazing run. I usually look for like 3 great trades a year where I can make mid 6 figures or even 7 figures, and I've had like half a dozen trades this year. I went lift at 45 and went to 65. I went short the NASDAQ in mid-February, bought a whole bunch of puts when it was at 334 and it crashed to 300 on the QQQs. I made 7 figures in that push. I've been short QuantumScape for several weeks now from the $42 area, covered around 25. And Beyond Meat last week, bought the stock and the call options and just made a ton on that. So if you want to join the elite, Francis, I'll give you. This is the guy that runs our program. Just tell him that you met me on this little program here and give you some information on the elite. Actually, I probably shouldn't have given his personal email out. So what else is going on here? Yeah, it's really an interesting time where a stock like AMC can go from $7 to 75. And I think that's going to be the problem. I think that's going to be the unwinding, is there's just too much speculation with Bitcoin, these NFTs, these non-fungible tokens, these SPACs, which are just very speculative IPOs. QuantumScape was a SPAC. QuantumScape went from $130 to $25. So you're seeing these crashes in the market. And I think these are just this is a result of all of this excess funding from the Federal Reserve. There's too much stimulus in there. There's too much money in the system. And now you're seeing that money just go haywire. Mustafa asked about oil. Check out oil. So, oil is, it's got some resistance at 75. So it looks like the path of least resistance is higher on oil. I think you have to be patient. It's not something that I would want to trade right now. But it probably will go higher. Doug says, what do you think about the shippers, FedEx? I know UPS had a monster, blowout with its earnings. FedEx, FedEx looks like it's got some resistance here at the 320. Tough to tell. I mean, it's trading at an all-time high. We're in this support zone at 300. So yeah, it's got, it's just bouncing between this 300 and 320. I'll check it out closer to earnings. And based on UPS had blowout earnings. So I anticipate that, FedEx will too. But a lot of that is, discounted into the price. But, UPS announced a couple of weeks ago, and it just exploded from 180 to 212. Francis, PWR. What is that? PWR, Quanta Services. Yeah, it looks like it's hit a pocket of resistance here, 100. Sitting on this neckline here. And, if it rolls through that neckline, it could be trouble. So I'd watch out for that. Um, Naylish says, I'm still on pound New Zealand, 140 pips. So stay the course, Naylish. I know 140 pips, it's great. I think there's going to be a lot more on the table. I know it's hard to kind of sit in those trades where you got these open profits, especially with pound New Zealand that has these wild swings. But I think, I would hold on to that. I would actually look for places to add to it above 197, 198, because once it clears 198, I think you're going to get a lift off. You could have one day it goes from 198 to 202. We did take out the weekly lows this week. We took out last week's low on the QQQs today. So, we are starting to see a bit of a reversal at these highs. And yeah, we could still see another sell-off in the afternoon here. So it's a dicey game in here. I still think we have a sell-off because, this is when I look at the charts, I look at the aesthetic. So we made a new low, we started pushing to new highs, just as we started talking. But then you got to say, well, okay, where is it going to go today from here? It's trading at 331. Now how can I see it extending through all of the resistance of the last couple of days? And the answer is no. So if the market's got nowhere to go on the upside and we've still got 5 hours to trade, then there's all kinds of possibilities that could go the other way. So it's very tricky in here. I'm just gonna kind of sit back and watch it. I made a ton on the opening, and I'm just gonna kind of watch it. It's like I'm kind of impressed how Tesla came back. It was at 592 on the low, and now it's trading at 600. So I'm kind of, thinking that's a bit of a proxy. I want to see how that closes today. So if we close, higher today on Tesla, it's going to be very interesting. We're in this really interesting area here. I mean, Tesla broke a long-term trend line a couple of weeks ago at $640. So it's now hovering below this breakout area. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens today. So Mustafa says, my mind was in gear with what I learned from you, and my patience meant that I made about a 25%, not choking my positions. Previously, I would have been happy with 5%. So yeah, this has been a pretty robust environment, Mustafa. And yeah, it's been pretty interesting. I don't, and the day's not over. So this is the session, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., things bounce around. You start getting a sense for the levels. And then, toward the end of the day, you're going to get a push. And then tomorrow, you're going to get non-farm payrolls, which will, definitely push the market one way or another. So I still think the market has a chance to fail here because, like I said, you have this huge rally, and then now you have nowhere to go. Now you're trading at 330 and a half, and you go back to 331, and you're saying it's going to go to 332, 333. I can't see it. So then there's a good chance it's going to go the other way. And I'm using kind of Tesla as this proxy here because it's, dug in, and I want to see if we reverse today, or we start failing toward the end of the day. So to me, that'll be, an interesting proxy here. So these indexes are starting to fail now again. We went to 331 and a half at 331.80, and now it's 330.20. So we've come down 150 pips since I've been speaking to you. So, again, you can go crazy watching this intraday stuff. Viskrana wants to know about BABA. Haven't looked at that in a while. Yeah, that looks pretty bad to me. Yeah, that looks like it's made a major head and shoulders, sitting, above this neckline here, and it just looks like it's a grind lower. I mean, there is some support in here, so it could hang out in here, but I wouldn't get long this thing. I'd be more inclined to short it than long it. I mean, if it gets under that old low around where was this 204, yeah, I think it's gonna probably plummet under that. Alvin says, will you consider the daily close after NFP for your bias on the indexes? So first off, I don't have try to not have a bias. What I try and do is look at a setup and then, find out where I can, get, what my risk reward is. So to me, why I think I've been so successful. So I got into BYND last week, Beyond Meat. I started buying the stock in the pre-opening session. I was so excited to get on that thing that before it even opened, it was trading about 121. But the previous day had a little small inside day bar. And the low of that previous day was $116. And so when I was looking at buying the stock at 121, I knew I had like a $5. I knew where my risk was. So I didn't know where the market was going to go after I got in. I had a feeling, but I didn't know, how much it's going to go up, when it's going to go up. Those are unknowable. But what I did know going in was what my risk was. I had a $5 risk to make 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, whatever I was going to make. And then I started buying the options, the call options, right after the market opened. Then it opened at about 123. I was making some money on the stock, and then I started buying the 125 and the 126 call options for about $1.50. And I got out of those at about $23. Made about, 15 times my money in 2 days. So this market is now starting to drift down again. Let me just see what's going on here. Yeah, I see it. The triple Qs had this huge push to the upside. They've broken last week's low already. So, this thing looks like it's already starting to break to the downside. So I would actually look for one more rally here. It's trading at 330. If it gets to, 331 or something like that, I would be inclined to short that on the basis or buy puts or whatever, because my thinking is, how much further is it going to go up today? If it goes through 331, is it going to go to 333, 334? It doesn't look like it can get through that kind of, path. And right now it looks like it could take out today's lows also. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd be inclined on the next rally to, buy some puts again. I'll see what happens. Azim says, what gives you the confidence to trade on double top and double bottom? Fails a lot of times. Yeah, well, I guess that's where little experience comes in. I kind of feel like sometimes I know what a double top looks like or a double bottom. We get all kinds of patterns all the time. And that's why I was saying, in pound New Zealand, I saw this double bottom at 185. And even though it looked really scary, I mean, this thing came down from 198 to 192. Pound New Zealand comes crashing down all the time in these 500 pip crashes. And every time it does that, I tell you guys to buy that, because that double bottom at 185 is going to hold. But others, are a little bit more tricky. So it's hard to kind of go into, a full explanation of that, Azim. But I look at a combination of the pattern and the price action. And then, like I said, with Beyond Meat, it was very tricky because you didn't have a pattern. I just had a feeling that with Beyond Meat last week, it was not only as much as what it was doing at the time, but what it didn't do. So with Beyond Meat, it crashed through the neckline at 113. It was a long-term neckline. It went all the way from $200, hit that neckline at 113, and then went to $100. Now, if that was bearish, it should have continued going lower. But what happened was it curled around and then came back up through the neckline again and was trading about 120. And I said, something's wrong here. And that's just a lot of instinct, a lot of experience, knowing the different trading zones. And it was, what it didn't do. And then I wasn't sure, but then I said, okay, I'm not quite sure, but I have a risk reward mechanism here. I had a prior day, little inside day bar, went from 116 to 120 or something like that. And I said, I'm just going to buy it right here with previous day's low. So while I didn't have, a great feeling, I had a way, of justifying, okay, if I get in here, here's my risk. And my feelings were completely validated. It went from 121 to 152 in 2 days. So, sometimes the patterns and the price action, give you a way to kind of see how to manage your trade. And it's all about managing, all of these trades that I made a lot of money in, that I loaded up, that I put big positions on, is because I assessed my risk. And by getting comfortable with what my risk was, then I can just lay back and let the market do what it's going to do. If it doesn't take out my stop, then let's see what happens. Where it's going to go, when it's going to go, I had no clue. So it's all about, managing risk. So Francis is with an insurance inside day bar. If you want to go long, does it mean that the inside bar should show a buy? No. It doesn't matter where the previous day's closes on the. I just looked at it's an inside day bar, and what that says to me is that it's a coil. It represents a storing of energy. So the previous day went higher, then you have a little inside day bar, so it's just storing energy. You had a lot of trading that next day around a certain area, and so the more you coil, then it's gonna break out of that area because it's built that energy. So that inside day bar just represents a coil, a storing. And I don't really care where it closed the day before. Kirby says, what's your risk on the short dated options? I play those, but my timing is wrong. The options go to zero. Yeah, well, that's Kirby. You have to be, whatever you throw in the middle, you have to risk every dime, because you have to be right and right now. And if it just goes sideways or it goes a tick against you, you lose most or everything. So I started buying these put options early this week, and it was going sideways. And then yesterday it went up, and I was losing a bunch of money. I was probably down, I didn't even look, probably down at least 50% on my bet. And if I didn't have this push today, then I would have, just wiped out, just taken 50, 60% loss. And, that's that. But if you're going to play options, you have to risk every dollar you put in the middle. It was the same with Apple. I bought the puts early in the week. I went to about a $30,000 profit. Then I went to a $30,000 loss. And, I had 2 days left. I had today and Friday to make it up. And then today crashed. And, I made about $100,000 on those. So Kirby says stops don't work. Yeah, you can't control your risk on those. And it's, one minor, if you're playing the Qs and you have an 80 pip rally and you're short, it just drains out so fast. So it's a pure bet. You have to be willing. It's like a poker game. You have to put all your chips in the middle. And if you lose the hand, you forfeit the whole thing. So whatever you put in the middle, you got to be ready to forfeit. So it looks like these indexes are starting to turn lower again. So Kirby says, thanks, your timing is great, mine isn't. So it's not a question of I have a timing or I kind of have a knack. I kind of look at the patterns, then I look for some price action. So to me, I may want to bite these puts pretty soon. As who was the fellow earlier said, that I was talking to, Chiron. So Chiron was saying that we have a reverse triangle and a double bottom on the S&P, but we also have a lot of resistance here. We have a lot of a resistance, and then a couple of days you had a key reversal where the market made a new high and closed at the low. So that to me is my anchor. So I'm going to just play the short side against that key reversal. And, then today you got that flurry. So it's not a question of timing. I kind of look at how the bars stack up and where I can get in, to, get a risk reward trade. And frankly, if you're looking to go short, buy puts, you should wait for a rally. So very often, like if I'm looking to buy call options, the next day, what I hope is that the stock opens lower, so I can create all of that energy. So it opens lower, I buy the calls there, and if I'm right and it turns around, then you get that huge push. So you got to be options. You got to be you got to get as much advantage as you can. So even though the market's coming off now and I want to buy puts, I prefer to wait for a little rally here. Wait for this QQQ to rally another 50, 60, pips here, and then I'll short into that. All right, guys, should be interesting here. Like I said, we've taken out the weekly lows, so that already starts telling me, that these QQQs are in trouble. Let me just check out this weekly chart real quick. So, if you start reversing the cadence, yeah, we took out the weekly lows. And so it's a reversal for the week. And we're sitting on this neckline. So this is a very precarious, I feel like we've probably made the highs for the year right here. I would feel that this is a zone where, it's going to get very tricky in here. So I would I would short into a rally only on the preposition Karan that you can't go. You're not going to go much further here. I can't see it going to 332. So if you understand your risk, if it's not going to do that, then there's a good chance it could go the other way. So we're starting to break now, and I want to get a rally here, but I may not. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end it here. I'm going to check out here, probably get some positions on. I'm going to look for a rally in these QQQs and start buying puts again. You can see Tesla's starting to fail again too. So yeah, and that's the thing with short covering rallies. So I was making a whole bunch of money. I put some strike prices to anticipate the QQQs that dropped to about 328 in 90. I went to the bathroom and I thought, well, I'm going to be looking at 327 and a half. I get back and it's at 331. In the time I went to the bathroom. So these short covering rallies are, that's the thing. Even though the markets are going down, the rallies are unbelievable. So you have to be able to sustain this huge, backlash. Thanks, guys. If you want to put a like button in the, I'd really appreciate it. And, we'll see you all next week. I think I'm going to wait we're 330 now. If we get back to 330 and a half, I'm going to start buying some puts there. Azim, you're in Los Angeles. I lived in Los Angeles for 40 years. I left there about 4 years ago. All right, guys. Have a healthy and prosperous trading day, and I'll see you next week.